Everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, what I would like to do is just go over the quorum. If your name my name is Jeremy DeVito, and I'm running for Congress in Dale Strong's 5th District. But today, I just want to make it clear that I'm acting as a constituent. Okay, Dale Strong is my representative, and I've contacted Dale Strong many times before I even announced my candidacy. So tonight, I'm just here as a representative, and I'm just like trying to figure out what's going on with our democracy and where he stands on a lot of these issues. So without further ado, I'm going to go over our rules of decorum. Before I get into that, can I have a show of hands? Who's here from Morgan County? All right, look at that. And when was the last time you guys had a town hall in Morgan County? Can you remember? No? Okay. When was that?
It was shortly after Decatur PD murdered John Scott, and the politicians weren't listening to him, so they brought the people out to talk about it.
Nice. Okay.
Did you go through the other counties?
Not yet.
Oh, no. I don't yet.
Madison County? Where you at? Okay.
Oh.
Anybody from Jackson County in here? That'd be a haul. I'd be like super proud of you. All right, anybody from the edge of the district here in Lauderdale County? No, okay. Limestone? All right, Limestone, representing. All right, so yeah, let's go over the decorum real quick. I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal, but you never know. Basic rules. So, rule number 1, respect all speakers. Participants must treat the elected official. He's on the milk carton out there. Moderators and fellow attendees with courtesy and respect regardless of political views. 2, stay on topic. Questions and comments must relate to public policy, government services, or civic issues. Personal attacks or off-topic commentary will not be allowed. 1 speaker at a time. Only 1 person may speak at a time. Please wait to be called upon and do not interrupt others while they are speaking. Time limits will be enforced. We're thinking 3 minutes. As people are starting to filter in here, 3 minutes is a long time if you've never spoken publicly. So, but look, just be honest though, like we may not be able to let everyone speak tonight. That's unfortunately part of the, we only have a certain amount of time here before we have to be out. So yeah, 1 speaker time. Time limits will be enforced. Timekeeper will keep a signal, and will signal when time is up. We're trying to give you about 30 seconds so you can wrap up. We don't want to just cut you off and haul you out. There's no hook that's going to pull you off. No disruptive behavior, shouting, interrupting, heckling, or displaying offensive signs or gestures are not permitted. Participants who disrupt the event may be asked to leave. No campaigning or partisan messaging. This is a nonpartisan event. Campaign materials, slogans, or political endorsements are not permitted in the meeting space. Use of the microphone is required. To ensure everyone can hear, all speakers must use the provided microphone when addressing the audience or official. Questions must be directed to the milk carton or to the elected official who might be here. Is there an elected official here in Decatur that might have been here that wants to identify themselves? I don't think. We invited some folks, but I understand. But listen, recording is allowed, but not disruptively. Participants may record the event, but tripods, bright lighting, or blocking others' views. Be considerate. Moderator has final authority. I don't see how we would have any problems here as long as everybody's being respectful, but we will have the final authority to cut the mic and ask you to leave if you get disrupted. Any questions before we begin? I'm going to pass the mic off over to Melanie Folsey. Thank you.
Kim, are you going to do the timing? Or yes? Okay, awesome. Does anybody want to volunteer? I have all the numbers up here. I'm going to just select, but if somebody wants to volunteer to go first, we can do that. Okay, what's your number? You can just give me your ticket and I'll match it up. Just come on.
So bring you the ticket?
Yep. You can stand right over here.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not unaccustomed to public speaking, but it's been a while. My father fought in World War II against the Nazis and the fascists. He was still in the military up through early Vietnam, fighting the communists. I don't know what he would think of one major party in this country adopting fascist, Nazi, communist ideology. He was a very conservative man, but I think he'd probably be sick to his stomach. It's kind of scary what our country appears to be trying to turn into. I think they're hoping that we'll just shut up and let it happen, and who knows, we might. But I hope we've had better days behind. I hope we'll have better days ahead. But right now, life's a little discouraging. I saw something a few minutes ago in those Zaxby's while I was eating. It's a little sign. It says, "Life is tough. Being stupid makes it tougher." I guess that's all I got to say.
Any other volunteers before I drop? Okay.
I wasn't prepared when I got here, but why not?
And did you say your name? I'm sorry if I missed it.
No,
Are you comfortable saying your name?
sure. Steve Jordan.
Okay. Thank you.
Kathy Johnston. I get emotional because I get angry.
That's okay.
To Dale Strong. When you continue to lie to every single one of your constituents and insult us and repeat the White House lies over and over and over, do you believe them? Do you believe the lies? Or do you just not care? Do you read these bills, or do you just not care? Because taking away, you voted already to pass this big ugly bill, and to take away from people in need medical care and such, so that you could line the pockets of people who are already rich, is evil, in case you don't realize that, Dale Strong. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other volunteers for that? Justice? Yay, Justice!
You know, I'm still waiting on that check.
Me too.
Where, and Mr. Strong, you keep lying and lying, and yet you say all this crap. May I tell you something? In the 10 Commandments, it says, one of them says, "Thou shalt not lie." And yet you lied to not just everybody in this room, but to the entire state of Alabama. I am more disgusted to know that people here in Alabama would rather listen to the lies of a fascist because he'd rather suck on Donald Trump's pens. That's as far as I'm gonna go with that. But to say that Donald Trump is somewhat of a fascist, and you're following him. You're no leader if you're going to be doing stupid crap like that. You're not a leader if you're going to be telling lies to our faces. You're not a leader when you are taking away children's health care and people's health care, their right to have a place, to have a right to live. That's not strength. That is weakness. Mr. Strong, get out of office.
Anyone else?
Sorry. My fiance was holding on to it for me. Yeah. I'm not trying to cheat the system. Oh, like someone we know. Or do I, yeah, this is. You can go over there. Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm going to try to make full use of these 3 minutes. I'm not used to public speaking. So, I guess the main thesis is, I want to focus mostly on our democracy because it is being eroded away before our very eyes. Within the one gigantically ugly bill, I don't know how to build on that. Honestly, I have a tough act to follow. There is a provision that would make it effectively impossible, unless you're absolutely loaded, to hold the president in contempt. How insane is that when when the presidency is conducting extremely illegal actions? How are we supposed to hold them accountable? How do they just not start arresting dissenters and sending them to El Salvador? Oh wait, they're already doing that, at least as long as they're mostly immigrants. It's not exact, and I mean it wouldn't be okay if it were all immigrants, obviously. I mean the First Amendment's supposed to apply to everyone. There's been plenty of case law establishing that. But yeah, and also to focus on Dale specifically, with all the disrespect that he has shown us, it's very obvious that he is a representative only in title. He is a capital R representative. I don't just mean Republican, I mean he is a representative in that sense, not a true representative by the typical dictionary definition, because he does not represent us. He doesn't want to talk to us. He dismisses us all as Soros funded, as if we couldn't have possibly just arrived at these opinions and cared about them by ourselves. Like, the disrespect. And, I mean, you know, we recently dealt with another tornado, and those are pretty common in our area, you know. I mean, of course, like many Republicans, he wants to cut FEMA, and when he was sucking up to Christine Noem not too long ago, where he was saying, like, where they were discussing, I mean, aside from the ridiculously submissive language he used, as Trump and his cronies all tend to demand from people, instead of which, I mean, he's not going to be representing our interests if he can't even challenge things a tiny bit. But also, he just offhandedly said that FEMA workers in Asheville, North Carolina, after Hurricane Helene, were deciding which houses to help based on the yard signs that were in their yard. I'm sure that's a blatant lie on the face of it, but also think of it for more than 3 seconds and you realize, what yard signs? They were swept away, they just got flooded! Like, again, the disrespect to our intelligence, to our desires, like, just as his constituents, it's like he wants to lose in 2026. And we should make that happen. I mean, I'm not gonna get any more explicit than that, because I think that would be against the rules, but yeah. And never mind that the big, beautiful bill, what a clown show, would also add massively to the national debt, because even for all of that slashing, they still get even more tax cuts on the rich. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
So is this going to Strong's office? Or?
Yes. And we're gonna
speak on this.
You can go right here and yeah. You got it.
All right, Mr. Strong, you owe us answers, sir.
Yeah.
You have a duty to educate. That's what legislators do. We have a lot of questions, and we're not hearing anything out of your office, period. What is going on with the dismantling of the Department of Education? We can't get good education here in Alabama. I'm a prior service U.S. Army colonel, and as I look forward to where my family might have gone, if I was in Colorado, I would sure as hell want to stay there for the education that is there, much improved than it is here in this state. So how are you working to make things better for us here? How are you educating us? How are you educating Congress? How are you educating the president on things like why or why not DEI is an American value? Just as the gentleman talked a little while ago about how his father served in World War II, a lot of things have happened that people wearing that uniform, our uniform, have died for equality. And it seems like we're willing to push that aside in a heartbeat under your and your president's regime. What's the status on the bridge study and the likelihood of that ever happening? Because a lot of people here in Decatur are wondering when and if that's ever going to happen. And right now, there's a lot of hope and effort being brought forward, but nobody seems to have any answers. Again, some questions on the big beautiful bill. How is it going to affect us here in Decatur for things like Medicaid, food subsidies, a lot of our underemployed individuals who rely upon those resources? And the last thing, how in the heck can you support the tariff dysfunction that's been going on since the president took over? And why are you not educating us on what the good side might be? Because I don't see that. All I hear is, or I see in fact, is our stock market going up and down, a lot of doubt in terms of what the future holds for anyone in any type of employment. And how is that going to affect national security when our NATO partners have no trust in what is going on? I personally served in Europe for a number of years. I've worked with a lot of those NATO partners. They are some of the best people on this nation, or on this planet. And I would fight with them every single day if they came to harm's way. But right now, we seem to be pushing that more likely than not. And dysfunction like what's going on with the tariffs, dysfunction within the NATO partners and their nations is going to cause us a lot of harm if you don't do something or start educating us and all of us on what's going on.
Alex.
Good evening. My name is Alex Morehouse, and I am from Huntsville. I am one of the moderators of the Liberal Agenda for North Alabama, and I guess we used to be just a page, and we accidentally became an organization because the world went to hell. I've heard a lot of important things brought up, and I want to speak on a very specific issue. Fascism requires enemies of the state. We saw this in World War II, obviously with the Jews, and not just the Jews, gay men, mentally handicapped people, gypsies, that was a bad word, Roma, forgive me, but I could go on and on. All these people that the Germans, the Nazis rather, assigned to be enemies of the state. And what we have happening here in this country right now is the same situation. Enemies of the state are immigrants. You know, ignore the fact that they harvest our food, build our houses, clean our motels, and God knows what else. Let's just throw them all out of the country. Let's just assume they're all evil. And the other enemy of the state right now is transgender people. Transgender people work just as hard and pass the same qualification tests as their cisgender counterparts in the armed service. I served in the Army. There is no slacking. If you want to move up, you pass the test. There's no difference. There's no variation in standards. Nobody cut any of them a break at any point along the way. And for somebody as lacking in honor as Traitor Trump to claim that they are dishonorable is sickening. It is disgusting. It's also a waste of our tax money because we paid to train these people, okay? If we are going to be the party of freedom and the party of justice, we have to stand with the least of these. You know, I've been married to my wife for 30 years. The government can't do anything about my marriage at this point. They can wave their fingers and tell me we're not married, and tough, because I got married in the United Church of Christ, and God says I am. And our baby boy is 22 now, so, you know, they can't unparent him. So I personally am at very little risk compared to a whole lot of queer people. Transgender people are being attacked on every single front. Specifically, black transgender women don't often live to see old age. And like I said, if we're going to be a party of justice, the party that claims that we want to right this ship, we care for those people who are being hung out right now and labeled enemies of the state. And any politician that doesn't recognize that and doesn't stand with us doesn't get our vote. That was pretty much it.
Thank you, Alex. Come on up.
I would rather be home in my easy chair, to tell you the honest truth. But there are just so many things that upset me these days, and I just want to talk about one. I saw a news article today where Elon Musk has posted on his whatever that social media thing is called, bragging that one of his great accomplishments has been the destruction of U.S. aid. And Marco Rubio yesterday told, I think, a hearing in Congress that nobody had died as a result of that, when in fact authorities are estimating that about 300,000 people have died since that aid was abruptly cut off, most of them children. And there's all kinds of complications in nations like Africa, et cetera, et cetera. But related to that is the so-called big, beautiful bill that, if it passes the Senate, is going to, it's estimated, eventually knock 8 or more million people off of health care because of the cuts to Medicaid. Cuts which incidentally are going primarily to two things: to make rich people richer and to support the military. And I don't have anything against rich people or the military, but I don't like for poor people to have to suffer in order for them to prosper and to survive. And what's going to happen in a state like Alabama, and it has already happened previously to us, is that a number of small rural hospitals are going to close. And people in rural areas are going to be farther and farther away from health care, and particularly at critical times when they particularly need to quickly get to a place where health care is available to them. And I'll tell you something that bothers me a great deal. I try to be a Christian, and some of those people in our country who claim to be the most fervent Christians among us, who very strongly support Donald Trump and it's seemingly all that he does, and who claim to be pro-life, don't utter a peep about 300,000, mostly children, dead in the world, and who God only knows what that number will be by the end of the year, and 8 million people in our own country suddenly cut off from health care. As I recall, Jesus spent a good bit of time healing people. I don't remember the New Testament saying that he ever sent anybody a bill. Don't get me wrong, doctors deserve, what they get. I'm not denouncing that. But what I'm trying to say is that if we are so concerned about life, then isn't it important to take care of people after they are born as well as before they are born?
And just a reminder, this is a public forum. Anyone can speak.
Hi, y'all. My name's Amanda Pushcheck, and I'm so tired, y'all. I'm so tired. I am tired of being kicked in the teeth. I am tired of writing my representatives only to get some sort of stock email sent back to me. I'm tired of being met with people who are unempathetic to others. And they think that we're stupid. Dale Strong thinks that we're stupid. He thinks that he can do things like pass this giant bill in the House and then ask for our vote again come next November. He thinks that we won't talk to each other, that we will just let people remain statistics instead of giving them faces and voices. We recently had a plumbing issue in our house, and I was looking at getting a small loan because, like most people, I live paycheck to paycheck. When I was going through the process, I was on the phone with the person, and they said, "Ms. Pushcheck, your credit score is blank." My credit dropped 162 points overnight. There are 8 million Americans in this country right now who are in the same situation as me, who had a student loan that they worked hard for and that they're out there working hard now. And it hit them overnight. 8 million Americans. Now, I am very fortunate that I have a home and that didn't affect me nearly as greatly as it would someone else. But if you were looking for lodging, needing to get a card so you could go to work, or anything else like that, your entire life has just been ruined. My father, with this brand new bill, will absolutely lose his insurance. He will lose Medicaid. And while he is technically below 65 and might be able to work, I don't know if you've seen those jobs that are talking about able-bodied positions. My dad isn't shelling nuts in a factory because those jobs don't exist anymore. HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, as we all know, has been really pivotal for a lot of people who are transitioning. But it's also really pivotal for childhood development. There are kids in our community that are having to be on feeding tubes for the rest of their lives because they were not able to get this hormone treatment therapy when they were young enough. This is devastating consequences. These are real life stories, and these are all the things that are happening in our community. If he will not be our voice, then we need to be our voice to each other. We cannot keep going about through the same motions, talking about, how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. Are you? Are you fine? Because I'm not. And I know that the people in my neighborhood aren't. We have to push past this. I know it's uncomfortable. I do, really I do. I want to stay at home and I want to do nothing. Like, that's the kind of person that I am. But if we don't start having those conversations with our neighbors, with our aunt, with our uncle, with our loved ones, then how are we ever supposed to have it with a stranger? We have real faces and real stories, that there are real impacts happening, and we need to start talking about them.
Thank you. When you guys are up here, in the back, there's a 30-minute sign just to give you kind of like a warning. So if you can just keep kind of an eye on that. Like 30 seconds, gosh. Yeah, sorry. Come on up, that's fine. And whoever wants to go next, go ahead and come up here instead if they want to. Just so I just want to make sure we get a time to go through all of them.
Oh, I do. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Kay Dye. I am an old feminist who is horrified that all of the progress for which me and many women fought for so many years now are being rolled back by reprehensible authoritarian political leaders. Every day I am appalled by yet more lawless acts perpetrated by this fascist administration. But I am even more appalled that our Republican congressional representatives have condoned and supported Trump's lawless actions. Dale Strong, and I'm going to speak to him directly, even brags about voting for Trump's big, beautiful bill, which is anything but beautiful. Also, Mr. Strong, only Congress is granted the power of purse by our Constitution. The power of purse means that organizations and agencies and aid funded by Congress must be kept funded and staffed. Only Congress has the authority to impose tariffs. They gave it to him for some unknown reason, but only Congress can disband federal departments and fire inspector generals. In addition, only a constitutional amendment can change birthright citizenship. No one has the power to just dictate it so. A president does not have the power to force private organizations to end their efforts for equality with their diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Judges have ruled that he simply cannot deport immigrants to foreign gulags, but he's still trying to do it. The president also did not legally have the power to let Elon Musk and his rogue muskrats steal all of our personal data, private data, which includes our social security numbers, our banking information, our birth dates, our addresses, every single piece of PII, personally identifiable information about us, you and me. What for? So Musk can improve his AI? Well, screw that. Anyway, the 14th Amendment, which was ratified by Congress on July 9, 1868, Section 1, states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges.
The time's up, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to come up here and show them? I don't think they can see it.
Yeah, I couldn't see from up there at all.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. Right up here. Who's my next one? Anyone? Oh, come on. And then, if somebody else wants to come and take the spot too, that'd be amazing, just so we can make it a little bit faster. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. I really appreciate what Alex was saying earlier about how in the military, it's everybody who passes the test that gets to be in the military. It doesn't matter whether they're trans or cisgender, they have to meet the qualifications in order to serve in the armed forces. But as a disabled person, I want to remind everybody that even people who can't pass the test are still valuable. And, you know, if you're too disabled to pass the test, I don't believe you should be able to serve in certain parts of the military, but disabled people are still valuable. Autistic people are still valuable, and we don't deserve to be in a registry just because our brains work a little different. My name is Sarah Coletti. Y'all might know me as Peanut. I am also the Alabama Banana and com.unity.al on social media. I'm a performance artist, an activist, a general artist. And I'm not currently registered to vote because I don't technically have an address. And the sad fact is that even though I still can find a way to vote without an address, it's not easy. And frankly, the options that I have aren't worth voting for. I am really happy to see some really amazing people putting their hat in the ring. So, you know, to be able to vote for them in our local elections, it might give me the motivation I need to jump through those hoops to figure out how to vote without an address. But that should be a problem. Like, you should be able to participate in democracy even if you don't have an address. Because I tell you, I don't have an address, but when I go to the store, that doesn't exempt me from paying taxes. When I get paid, those taxes still come out of my paycheck. And unhoused people experience that every day. It's called taxation without representation, and it's why we are a country. We have criminalized so much in this country that we have the largest prison population in history in the world. And in Alabama, Huntsville specifically, is the worst for all that. We kill people in our prisons and our jails, even though that's the only time the Supreme Court says we have to protect them. Justice for John Scott Jr.
Yes.
Steve Perkins.
Yes.
John Mitchell Rickton.
Yes.
Justice for Alabama.
Yes.
Thank you. Come on up.
You came up, did you?
No, the card.
The timer.
So she'll show you 30 and a time. Because it was going to me, but I don't like cutting people off. I want them to finish their jobs. I want people to be heard.
You're gonna chase me off.
I need your card, your number.
I don't even know where I did it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm Michelle Waters, and I would be rather gardening right now. So I get you all here want to be somewhere else, only because of Dale Strong not coming to meet with us or talk with us over the phone. I've got some homework for you, Dale Strong. I brought my sign that I didn't know what else to say to you, but you sold us out to Project 2025. So we're gonna change that. Hold it up, buddy. Yeah. So we're gonna replace you. You've done no good up there. I don't know what you've been promised. Where's the camera? I don't know where you've been promised by Trump, but I guarantee you it's not worth selling us out for. The other thing, my homework for you, I did talk about that. It just came out. Look it up. I talked to your interns today, asked them to print it for you. For when the bill comes back to you, and it will, the Senate's going to rewrite it. I want you to print this out. I want you to hold it up as you're voting, which I hope you'll vote no to the bill. And it's a Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. What they've come out with is the effects of what the cuts will do to SNAP. And it's devastating. And you got to know it. Also, Section 70302, a lot of congressmen are saying they didn't know it was in there. It's a budget bill. Why is this in there? Well, let me tell you. Trump is wanting to pass the fact that judiciary regulations and that the government will not be held accountable for any judicial determinations. That's what we call martial law. And it's unacceptable to allow that to happen. Furious. I'm just furious about what's going up in Congress, guys. Let me catch my breath. I suppose maybe in 2026 this will have to wait, but if you don't mind taking Trump and impeaching him, you know, he says he's got immunity, and he does, but he did an illegal act, not as a president. When he had that dinner, and he had all those Bitcoin money coming his way, but on the guise of being a president. So maybe you'll step up into the House and bring him to impeachment, get him out of there. Or we're gonna get you out of Congress and put somebody who knows what they're doing in. Thank you.
And whoever wants to go next, if you guys want to come up and get closer, it'd be great. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna have you stand right there. I want to make sure we get to the tickets first, okay? Anybody else? Want a ticket? Quick? No? Spur of the moment. Oh, okay. Don't leave though, I want you to talk. I just gotta make sure we get through the other ones. You don't need to. You don't need to. We'll go through it right here.
Yes. So I took a ticket not planning to speak at all. But Alabama has never made positive changes unless forced to by the government, by the federal government. Chattel slavery, voter rights, integration of facilities, our money-making prison system. We need strong representation in Congress, and Dale Strong, the coach, and Katie Britt aren't it. One could say... You spoke about being pro-life, someone in the room earlier. I too am pro-life, but pro-life means free lunch programs. Pro-life means higher minimum wage. Pro-life means quality child care. Pro-life means affordable housing. Pro-life means paid paternal leave. One concern that I have as I look in this room, though, is the glaring lack of racial diversity. What are we doing about it? While Alabama and our nation have many problems, our local elections are important also. We need to come out just as strong. On August 26th, Decatur, we have a chance to vote out our city council and our current mayor.
Yes.
I hope if you're not registered to vote and you're able, I hope you are registered to vote 14 days before August 26th and that you come out and vote for your local government, because that is where changes are first happening. Thank you.
Yeah, some more people, come on, because no one's going over. Anybody with numbers that want to go, come on over to the side for me, okay? There you go.
Sorry about the tickets, Matthew.
No.
I also was not planning on speaking tonight. I'm not a resident of this district. I drove up from Birmingham tonight. And I'm so encouraged to see all of you here. I have two quick things to say. The first is that directly to Dale Strong. I came to Alabama on a debate scholarship to Stanford University, and I'm a debate coach. I've coached national championship winning teams. I won a Fulbright Award to teach in Germany. I've been in 4 countries teaching debate. And I've never seen such cowardice as American elected officials all over the world, from children to adults. The level of cowardice is unmatched. We saw this with Democrats in Alabama, with Republicans in Alabama across the board, refusing to debate Democratic challengers. They will debate each other in the primaries, but suddenly get real quiet before the general election. So my comment to Dale Strong is, I hope that in a year from now, when we know who our Democratic challenger will be on the ticket, that you are not a coward, that you accept invitation, ideally multiple invitations to debate, to have your opinions both communicated but also challenged and discussed in a public accessible forum for the public. Second thing I want to say, and I'm going to be very clear in saying this as an individual, but I am a member of the LGBT community. I'm actually a board member of Alabama Equality, which is currently the only statewide advocacy for LGBTQ issues, because the Human Rights Campaign removed their state director from the state. So there's us. We started last year. We need all the help we can get. I'm, again, as an individual, not speaking as a board member. But if anyone wants to get involved, get on our email list, serve on the board of directors, volunteer. I look like this, come find me. And again, to Dale Strong, the whole state saw what you did last year, targeting an individual member of the LGBT community for no reason, threatening their employment, their livelihood. Unconscionable, unconscionable. We are watching, we are here, and we're mad as hell. Yeah! My name is Natalie Benny. The organization is Alabama Equality, so alabamaequality.org.
If anybody else wants to comment, go ahead and get over there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tickets left.
Hello, my name is Zid Hernandez. This is my first time attending to something like this. I'm here to speak behalf for the Hispanic community, Latino. I actually have it written down on my phone. All right. To begin with, I was born and raised in Alabama my whole life. My parents came across the border long ago to give me and my older siblings a life my parents never had. I've worked with many immigrants and migrants from different jobs, from construction sites to restaurants. Many of these people that you call terrorists, drug dealers, rapists, and etc. are not the people that you label them. Yes, not everyone's perfect. We can agree on that. Many of these hardworking people are sending their own money back to their families, back in their home countries, or to help support their own family they made here in the States. Yet they are being arrested and detained from the job sites they work at, and they're still in their clothes while detained. While y'all are labeling the people that build our homes, schools, hospitals, put food on our tables, and make sure that we have everything we need. Sorry. While they do all the hard work that most Americans do not want to do for the little pay they get, you still call them terrorists. You say that you're for the people, but you actively remove benefits for veterans that have fought and served for our country, risking their lives for a country they believe in. Why are the veterans not getting more money than you? Why do you take money away from the people that need it the most and put it in your own pocket, or anywhere else that is not so important? Why do I and many others have to worry about going to the hospital or doctors and if it's worth it or not? You should be representing the people of Alabama, but you're only representing Trump. Thank you.
And have you guys seen all the amazing artwork out there?
My name is Aaron Kilgore. I am with Art of Resistance, and I am a resident of the 5th District. Friends and neighbors, I didn't come here to speak nice. I came to speak plain, and I'll make it really short. Dale Strong, you were sent to Washington to represent the people of North Alabama, but instead of standing up for us, your constituents, you have lined up behind a bill that cuts health care, abandons working families, and leaves the most vulnerable to fend for themselves. You call it this one big, beautiful bill, but let's be honest, it is lipstick on a pig. There is nothing beautiful about gutting Medicaid. There is nothing strong about starving rural hospitals, and there sure ain't anything Christian about turning your back on the poor, the sick, and the struggling. And I'm talking to you, Dale Strong. We see who you serve, and it's not the folks in Decatur or Huntsville or in the 5th District. It's the donors, it's the lobbyists, it's the good old boys behind closed doors. While our people fight to afford insulin, one of the cheapest drugs to manufacture, and yet it costs thousands of dollars. You're fighting to protect tax cuts for the wealthy. And if you look at your donor registration, you will see that under 2% of your money comes from constituents like me and the people in this room. And the rest of it comes from big corporations and large individual donations. It is not for the people. Stand up for the people you serve, or we're kicking you out in 2026. Yeah. Not all of the South is asleep. Not all of us are scared, and we're not fooled by pretty names and empty promises. The South has something to say, and honey, this is just getting started.
And anybody else? Come on up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Susan Griffin, and I'm with Indivisible 5th District. There's also Indivisible Athens is here, probably some of the people from Indivisible Decatur, but I recently saw a clip of you, Dale Strong, defending the Big Ugly Bill, and everything that you said is a lie. I'm gonna give you a little pass on it because I do think you're dumb as a block of wood. And anything that you are told by your handlers, you repeat without doing 1 ounce of research. He has stated that the tax cuts for the wealthy would pay for themselves. Tax cuts have never paid for themselves, ever. There's not one instance since records have been kept, where places like the Congressional Budget Office or the Yale Budget Lab have been tracking this data. Not one instance ever where a tax cut paid for itself. So that is just a lie. Secondly, he and I've heard other Republicans say this as well, that the Medicaid cuts are really just going to address the 1.2 million undocumented people who are receiving Medicaid benefits. Also a lie. Undocumented people are not eligible for Medicaid. And even if they were, address that, address if there are people who shouldn't have it, find those people and take it off, and take them off. You can't just take a hatchet approach to a program where 75,000 children in this district, in District 5, are on Medicaid. So it will have a huge impact on the health and well-being of babies and children in this district. So tax cuts never pay for themselves. The Medicaid cuts are not about waste, fraud, and abuse. They are just about taking money from the lowest socioeconomic levels of people in this country and transferring it to the wealthy. And it's not only fiscally irresponsible, it'll explode the deficit, it's also just immoral. So that's all I have to say to you today.
Okay, well any more tickets? I have you want to go ahead and come on up here? Anybody else? Yeah, we have 10 still left that I don't know where they went. That's fine. I was just trying to keep tabs on time.
Okay. My name is Jerry Cobbs. I was born and raised here in Morgan County. I straight, white, cisgendered, should be a Republican, but I am not. I was a Ronald Reagan voter. I was a George Bush Sr. voter. Over the years, I've watched that party go further and further to the right. One of the most influential people in my life was my 11th grade history teacher, Mr. Warner Crow. He put away the textbook for 6 weeks and taught us the history of World War II and Nazi Germany. And I have watched that playbook for the last 10 years now being played out again and again. I can take you to reference books in my home and show you page and paragraph where Dale Strong and his Republican Party is following it page by page. That is not extremism, that is not hystericalism on my part, that is just reading my history book and watching it play out again. Yeah. And they start with people like transgender individuals because that's easy for people who are raised like me to say, well, that's them, not me. You know. And then they move to the next group, and they're brown-skinned Spanish people, and they say, well, that's them, not me. And then the next thing you know, it's people who were born and raised here, wear a regular baseball cap, and go to church on Sunday, and they're hauling them off. So excuse me. The old slippery slope argument has a lot of fallacy to it, but it has some real application. And you may think, well, what can I do? And that's one of the things my wife and I thought about was, what can we do? And, you know, we can't, we're older, we're retired, we don't have sometimes the finances or energy to do some of the things, but we do what we can. One of the things that we have done is order these cards that have in Spanish, and you can get it in multiple languages. There's two sides. One side tells the immigrant, or the person who unfortunately looks like an immigrant, that what their rights are in Spanish, and how to what to do if ICE comes to the door. The other side has a statement in English that says in English, if their English is a problem, they can put that up to the door, hand that to law enforcement. These are my rights, I'm standing for them. All right. And so to this date, we've given out about 450 of these from here to Colorado. They're easy to order. I've got a handful here if you want some.
Did you follow us on the Facebook page? Could you put a link to those on there for anybody that wants to order them themselves or something like that? Are you on Facebook? Or that'd be amazing.
A lot of you have spoken already about the big, beautiful bill, the one big, beautiful bill. Well, I have been extremely disturbed about all of those things that you have talked about tonight. But one especially is foundational, and it is that section 70302, which has already been mentioned tonight by someone. Let me just read it to you right quick. No court of the United States may enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C, whether issued prior to, on, or subsequent to the date of enactment of this section. That means that they're taking away judicial responsibility in the federal courts. If a judge tells the president that he's in contempt, if there's been no bond filed beforehand, let me just say this. It strips away judicial power and turns the rule of law into a suggestion. There goes our rule of law. Yeah. I forgot the very first thing I meant to say, that I wanted to tell this to Dale Strong again. Did you vote for this big, beautiful bill? Yes, you did. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. You did vote for it. You voted yes. And if you did you read it before you signed it? I mean, before you voted? Did you even see section 70302? Do
we have anybody else that wants to speak? Come on over.
Good evening, y'all. Thanks for coming. My name is Jeremy DeVito, and Decatur was my first home when I moved to Alabama. It's near and dear to my heart, so I love seeing all y'all here tonight. Dale, I'm just going to start by saying to you, I'd rather be having Gamer Bros with my son right now, and I know he would like that as well. We play Xbox together on Friday nights, it's our thing, but I had to do it last night, and you're taking time away from me that I can never get back. That I can never get back. I want to make sure you hear that, okay? But I understand the weight of this moment, and I'm not sure that you do. I have a few questions I've been waiting to hear answers for. What's an illegal? You've used that word many times to describe people, and it's disgusting. So I want to hear from you. What's an illegal? Do you have the guts to say it out loud, or are you just going to keep it to yourself? How can we as Alabama afford to pay for Medicare and Medicaid when blue states subsidize red states, and this bill guts those programs, this big ugly bill? This thing is on the fritz. That's okay. Let me ask you this. Do you care about sick kids? Or do you just use them as token to push your agenda and get votes? But then when it comes time to put something on paper, you turn your back on sick kids and Alabamans in general. And why did you celebrate Second Amendment provisions as part of your bill? Was there some sort of incentive there? Because there was a lot to choose from that you could have celebrated, but for some reason you focused on 2A. Actually, there wasn't a lot to celebrate, but for some weird reason you focused on that. And finally, not so finally, why did you say no new laws were needed to pursue mass deportation? He's on record saying no new laws were needed, just new leadership. What that sounds like to me is fascism and authoritarianism. Does that mean you support a fascist takeover of our government? I don't hear you. And finally, how do you sleep at night?
We all need that assassin office.
Okay, my name is Janet, and
You can do it.
Well, I thought I could do it.
We believe in you.
We believe in you.
Come on, Janet, you can do it. Janet, come on.
Well, first of all, I wanted to talk about myself. I want to say, you know, I never thought myself as a big patriot. This is all new stuff to me. But I always thought I was a good person. I've worked hard all my life. I know I have privileges, but I've worked hard. I went to school. I've saved my money for my older years, and here I am, and this is what I'm dealing with. I really thought by working so hard, you know, and I'm lucky. So far I have my health and everything, but that's my little selfish spiel right there. But then what really has me upset is the pleasure of cruelty.
Yes.
And I just can't handle that. I mean, there's everything else that we're dealing with, you know, and it's all kind of cruel. Losing, you know, no USAID, taking away Medicaid, SNAP, and on and on and on. But there just seems to be great pleasure in it. Like puppy killer standing in front of a prison like that. I mean, it's just, I just can't even get my hands around that. So anyway, thank you for coming, and those are my few words. Thank you.
I have 10 tickets. Do people take them and then just decide not to?
Some people were on the front side.
Okay, and that's okay. No pressure. Okay.
I'm gonna try to time myself.
I mean, I don't think we're kind of at that. We didn't have people come back at it and say.
Hey everybody, my name is Kim Fasking. I'm an immigration attorney here in Decatur. And there's no point in me addressing Dale Strong because he won't give a shit.
Right.
And he won't respond, he won't listen. I don't know, how many of you have ever called his office to complain about something? Has he responded? No. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't respond.
Dylan has. I went to his office and he wasn't there repeatedly.
Yeah. So some of his staff, in defense of his staff, some of his staff are lovely, and they hear what you have to say. One time when I called to complain about Dale's push to defund NPR, His staff tried to tell me that that was justified and explain why it was justified. So it's hit or miss. But the point is that as somebody mentioned earlier, Dale is not our representative.
Right.
He is our elected official, our elected representative, but he doesn't represent us. Okay? This administration's attacks on immigrants in our community are sort of a proving ground for what they can get away with. Okay? If we start to accept cruelty against people who don't have lawful status in our country, then we're going to start to accept cruelty against other people. Okay? So what they're doing now, they're violating people's constitutional rights. They're violating people's human rights. And people like Dale are applauding. They've joined in. Dale is a puppy dog for Trump. Yes. Okay? And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or whatever you want to call yourself. It is not just the Democrats' rights who are going to be undermined by this administration. It is everybody's. If you are a Republican on Medicaid, good luck. Yes. If you are a Republican married to an undocumented person, good luck. Because your family is going to get ripped apart. And I'm almost out of time. But anyway, I just want to say that it is so important for all of us to work together to get a voice in Washington who represents the people who live in this district. And Dale, I know you're not listening to me, but you have immigrants in your district. You have people on Medicaid in your district. You have people whose rights you are violating in your district. And if you're not going to stand up and say no to Trump and all this garbage, we will come for you. At the ballot box. At the ballot box.
Oh yeah, it's good for people to know who's who.
I'm also the chairperson of the Morgan County Democratic Party, so if anybody wants to join me,
If anybody else wants to speak, come on over. It's just about it.
Okay, this is for Dale Strong. I'm tired of chasing your ass all over North Alabama trying to see you. I mean, I've been in your office, I've called your office, I've been outside your office, I've been on the streets, I've been places where you said you were going to show up, and you haven't had the decency to come and talk to us. We're good people. We care about our democracy. We love our country. And to see you do what you're doing makes me sick. I'm here, there's a rumbling in North Alabama in your district, and we're not going to go away. Come talk to us. If you can attend a gathering with Moms for Liberty and Marjorie Taylor Greene, by granny, I'm a good person, and you can attend one with me too.
Everybody knows why Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming June 28th, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna be there.
Okay. Anyone else? I have a question. How many people in here, it's their first town hall ever? That's a lot. That's awesome. That's a lot. Does anyone that we had to cut off have anything else they'd like to say? Because I hate cutting people off. Hate it. Alex is already up here. They're taking a picture. Sarah, you have more to say?
Yeah.
Just get in line, right over there, until we can. Until we can.
I was just taking a photo. Go ahead. I just wanted to let y'all know I'm working on organizing an event called Rocket City Remembers. It is commemorating the 5-year anniversary of when HPD tear gassed and shot with rubber bullets peaceful protesters at a permitted event. We will be at the new federal courthouse in Huntsville on June 3rd between 6 and 7:30, and we hope to see y'all there.
Yeah. I really liked what Miss Janet said. Sorry, I already forgot the exact phrasing, but it's like the fact that conservatives these days are delighting in cruelty, like the fact that that's what the mainstream Republican thing is, and like it just comes across like I think that really helps sum up a lot of it. Like I grew up with a conservative dad. Honestly, he's still conservative. He's still a Trump supporter. He's been a bit brainwashed by too much Fox News and Breitbart. He's a smart guy, but he's been misled. A lot of, some people are living in an alternate reality. We need to help wake people up. But just the whole delighting in cruelty thing, like growing up, my impression of conservatives, even when, that started as my default political positions, believe it or not, with a bit of a libertarian lean. The thing is, for all their faults, when I was a kid, conservatives were at worst callous. It was like, well, we would like to be able to do all these good things that the leftists want, but it's not feasible. They might not be right about that, but that's a defensible argument. But now it's just so cruel. Like, there's just so many, like, they delight in just tearing families apart. Because, they've learned to hate. Like, not just a few of them, not just the average amount you'd find in any political tribe, but it's so much the part of the culture now. And of course, Dale's doing nothing to stand up to it because he's just another stock Republican these days. He's not, again, as I was trying to get at before, he's not representing anything unique to our district. He's not and he's not pushing back on any of this nonsense. And I mean, as much as I don't want to give a politician even, too much credit by saying they're stupid rather than hateful, I mean, it's probably a balance of both anyway, but I think, and corrupt, I mean, all three of those things. But there is Hanlon's razor for a reason. Either way, he at least acts like he's that dumb. So, we can do so much better, and I think we should reach out to people who might have grown up voting Republican, but who need to understand this isn't the party that they want anymore. And it's just, there's so much insane stuff happening around, that they might not be paying attention to right now. So we need to wake people up. Alex, by the way. And the other Alex, I guess.
I do have a question. Do we have any I know we asked about the counties. Do we have any Madison City people in here?
Right.
District 4? No? Do you want to run for city council? Wherever you live, you can run for something, run for it. But we have Moms for Liberty running for District 4 in Madison City. And that's my district, and I really don't want to have to run.
So I just want to add to what I said earlier. Dale Strong, maybe you think that by the next election there will be no fair and true elections. Maybe that's what you're betting on. But if you're betting that there aren't enough of us to properly and correctly vote you out, I just want to say, when we're out there demonstrating, and there's usually a nice little group, okay? You would be shocked, Dale Strong, to hear the cars driving by and honking and giving us thumbs up. Do not think for 1 second that this area is full of your MAGA scum, because it's not anymore, all right? Things are changing around here, and you are not going to have the support to win another election.
No. Yes. I just want to add to that. He absolutely, I think, does know that, and I think that's why he doesn't show up to anything at all. He knows. And I'm going to go ahead and say this right now since I haven't talked. Dale knows who I am. Probably. A lot of we've got to get into some pretty close proximity to Dale Strong, and a lot of those tips have come from Republican women. So I think he knows his time is ticking.
Oh, y'all thought I was finished? Well, I'm a little heated up now, so let's go for it. This is the month that I remember when I saw millions and millions of people protesting for Black lives.
Yeah!
People who have stood up, allies alike, who have stood up for Black people. But here's what I'm going to ask everybody. Whether if you're white, Hispanic, well, I can't say Hispanic, of course, just white in general, use your white privilege to help us. I'm Black. I could get shot. I could get hurt. I could get arrested for just walking in the street holding some Fat Tuesdays in my hand.
We're not gonna let that happen.
That's right. I remember when a store, well, a coffee place, the Coffee's Clutch, in Huntsville, Alabama, was damaged. Republicans tried to spin the story and say it was the protesters' fault. But when the protesters heard about it, and when the owners of the Coffee Clutch found out that it was not the protesters, it was the Huntsville Police Department.
Right?
That threw a tear gas canister in their store, breaking their window. And what did the protesters do? They got together and don't try to raise enough money to give back to them. And this is what the owner said. And I'm going to take Peanut's word for it and mix it up in my own words. That your life is much more greater than just a freaking window.
Yep.
So, I said this once before at the Athens Town Hall. Black lives will always matter, now and forever.
Summation, I think, while we're up here. Kathy said it. Melanie said it, and thank you, by the way, for putting this together for us, Melanie, Jeremy. I still heard, whether he's watching this or not, I do want you to be aware, maybe on Facebook we've been talking, that he may be running for Senate. So I'm hoping that we have candidates looking for the Senate seat too. Because District 5, I'm so proud of Jeremy. I think we're going to actually have a primary for our Democratic Society. We are turning purple, if not blue, Dale. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. How many of you guys are feeling overwhelmed? Okay, good. I'm not alone. So nice to hear that. I have been, and I still feel overwhelmed. And I've been doing a lot of reading about that. And two things really struck me of all the reading I did about when you're feeling overwhelmed. And one of them is build local community. Here we are. Here we are. And I'm sure you guys are all reaching out to others. The other thing was just pick one cause. Just one. Just pick one. Too many. And I really needed to hear that. And I heard it. And I picked my cause. But I'm not representing today. And I thank all of you for picking your cause. Every one of you picking your cause builds community, keeps us together, keeps us strong. How many of you have heard about the magic ratio of 3.5%? Yes. Yeah, so 3.5%. It's the number, the percentage, the proportion of the population that's needed to really cause a tipping point and cause change. So, thank you also for being part of that 3.5%, and you're what keeps me coming and being a part of it. Thank you so much. So the cause I chose was the League of Women Voters, because I believe if we can't vote, we don't have a democracy for everything else.
You guys with organizations, if you want to just if you go to the event and post it in there for people to see so they can connect, that's great. We just didn't want people to feel like they came and we wanted their voices to be heard and not just actively campaigned, whether it's organizations or whatever else. But if you guys can put it in there. Did you want to speak again? Does anybody else want to come up too? We still have to come on up. Come on up. We still have 29 minutes.
So this is more specifically to Dale Strong. Dale Strong, I am a teen parent. Yes, I made mistakes, but I am doing everything in my power to ensure that my 1-year-old daughter still has a father and does not get accidentally deported. I've seen a video on social media where the Walmart or University, I've seen an immigrant status, I don't know, but I've seen a man running for his life while being tackled by the ICE. How am I supposed to feel safe walking outside, going to my job every day without being racially profiled and detained and then sent to a country that I've only been twice in my life? Without due process, yes. How do I feel safe going outside with my own daughter that is half Mexican, half white, and not being labeled as a kidnapper, rapist, or anything? I, let alone, barely felt safe coming out here, but thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
I feel better.
Hey Dale, my name is Dan, and I'm a little nervous, but I've got the Facebook post here that Jeremy referred to, where you were shooting a semi-auto and bragging about how the bill passed, and silencers are no longer having to be registered or taxed according to the bill, and that's what you made a big deal out of. Instead, you should talk about the effects of Medicaid to Medicaid, over 105,000 people on Medicaid in your district alone,
Yes.
including 75,000 children and 18,000 seniors. The ACA Affordable Care Act, 52,000 have ACA coverage in your district. An average increase of 62% over the year will be levied to those people with Obamacare. SNAP, 56,000 people in your district will have their SNAP benefits removed. And employment, the federal government employs more than 28,000 people in your district, and that's under attack. I hope you're proud of yourself, Dale. You're not representing us at all.
I have two brief things. One is, it's bad enough when you look at what Nazi Germany, the playbook they used, but you also, it hasn't been mentioned today, there's another popular book that's going to be an issue, The Handmaid's Tale. What are you going to do to the women of our country? You just want them to be breeders and complacent? It's really rather sick.
We're already treating one like an incubator in Georgia.
Yeah. You know, you talk about being pro-life. The truth is, you're not pro-life. You're pro-birth. You don't give a damn what happens when the baby's born. Just that the baby was born. And the third and final thing, Dale, you're a politician. You don't speak to ordinary constituents. You only speak to people who come with large checks. And all politicians seem to be pretty much that way. There's a few exceptions. Bernie Sanders may be one. But by and large, you are bought and paid for. Dale, that makes you a whore. Whoever has the money, whoever has the power, you are willing to perform for them. You're our new Diddy.
I'm taking off the purple people hat right now. I'm Melanie Kowalski speaking. I would just like to remind all the women in the room, as you were talking about The Handmaid's Tale. I've read both. How many people in the room have read Handmaid's Tale?
And watched the TV.
I haven't watched the TV show. How many has read the sequel?
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't read the sequel, read the sequel. But in my Pulaski capacity, women, it's a stand your ground state. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Hat back on.
I did have one more topic I needed to talk about. We're saying a lot tonight about how we will vote Dale Strong out, but the Republicans have a strong agenda for disenfranchising voters, and especially women. There's the Standard American Voter Eligibility Act that Dale voted for, otherwise known as the SAVE Act, that would require all applicants using the federal registration form to provide documentary proof of citizenship at their local election office. But it would require every woman who has changed her name due to marriage or divorce to go provide these documents. This will lead to widespread voter disenfranchisement. The Brennan Center for Justice and other groups estimate in a 2023 report that 9% of U.S. citizens of voting age do not have proof of their citizenship readily available. And almost half of Americans do not have a U.S. passport, but this is what we will be required to present. This will disenfranchise millions of female voters. All I can say is the Republicans must be figuring out that we women do not want to vote for their butts.
That's why all those Republican women have been given tips. Anyone else? And you don't have to come up here. I can take the microphone to you if you feel more comfortable speaking there.
Okay.
I'll encourage you every day.
I just want to point out one more time, you have heard from a black man and a Hispanic man talking to you about their fear. And as a lesbian, I'm on the list, guys. I mean, if the cops decided to bust in here right now and be assholes, who do you think are the top targets? I'm looking at one. You're beautiful, ma'am. I'm sorry I'm pointing at you, but I'm looking at one. And Justice is on the list, and the Latino guy, definitely. You're safe for the summer because it's too hot for you to wear a hijab right now. You're not in danger until it cools off.
I'm a cop watcher, they know me.
Yeah. But what my point is I'm asking you to understand what some of us are going through. I've grown my hair out, and so my wife and I pass. You know, we must be sisters now because one of us has long hair. But our son, who was adopted at birth, is black. And you got two short, fat, white lesbians and a 6.5 foot tall black kid. Everybody knows us. And he is autistic like his mama, ironically. And the fear in my heart, even more than I've ever feared for myself. And I have been harassed, I have been chased. I walked out of a queer bar in college and had 4 guys walk out of the redneck bar next door and follow me through a parking lot. They were big and tough until I went and got all the gay football players out of the bar. When you're at the march, when you're at a rally, when you're at one of these events, be aware of what's happening around you. And I hate to have to say this, but it's true. Be aware of who you might have to protect. You know, I mean, try to understand what bravery it took for this young man to come out and speak. And it's like he said, he could be just walking down the street with his daughter, and get thrown in a cell with no questions asked. He looks the part. You know, you might get due process justice, because, you know, you and I might get due process. We're pretty obviously citizens, but those of us who are minorities and look like minorities are in danger. And I'm just asking you to watch out for us.
You're fine.
Hi guys, my name is Sabrina. I was not planning on speaking, but apparently my soul's telling me I have to say something. So forgive me if I don't have all the eloquent words. You're right, looking right at me. I am someone who is being directly affected, obviously, by the things going on, but I also have been affected by these things my whole life being a Black woman. But beyond that, I'm also an American citizen, and what is happening in our country is insane to me. And it's insane that it's still, this is all happening. This is, like you all have been saying, this is a playbook from World War II. This is a playbook of hatred. This is a cycle of hate and pain, and we have to put a stop to it. Evil triumphs when good people sit and do nothing. I heard this when I was a child, and it has stayed with me my entire life. And what you need to understand is you don't have to be, if you are too afraid to go to a protest, if you're too afraid to do those things, there are other ways you can still do something. Yes. You can talk to that relative who is a hateful, ignorant bigot. In front of their kid. Right.
Yes.
You can tell them what they're doing is wrong. You can let them know that if they claim to be a follower of God, hate cannot exist where love is. If they don't know and all these people claiming to do this because they're Christians or love of God, it's not true. It's not real. And the people who truly are a follower of God need to make that clear and need to stand up and say that we will not allow this delight in cruelty to continue. We will not allow our rights to be taken away. We will not allow this to happen to our people, to all of us, and to our country. Thank you. We all have the power to do our part, big or small. And you all have the power, especially those of you who are white, to use your privilege for good. And I want you to please do that, because we need it now more than ever. Thank you.
Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
not to put you on the spot, if you had any.
Some ways that you can use your voices, there are a lot of apps out there called like 5 Calls, where you can call your constituents, email, and they have scripts available for you to choose a topic that you are passionate about and speak on that. If you do want to come to protest or rallies, I am an organizer for 5051 here in Huntsville. And I've been doing events for the community. And we also do protests. Our next protest is June 14th. And it's titled, Not Our King, Not Our Circus. That's right. And we are going to be counteracting Trump's lovely little birthday celebration.
Woo! And we love to have you there.
And we would love to have you there. Thank you.
Working on it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
because it was originally Big Spring Park, but we might have to change it. But when we get our official location, we will officially announce it. But thank you all for your time, and thank you for being here.
pretty nervous about speaking for a lot of this event, but I think that one thing that I want to tell our government is that a lot of people who are disabled don't have a very good way to represent and promote for themselves. I have a lot of friends in the local autistic community who have a lot of comorbidities that don't enable them to really leave their house very much, and yet these same people are people that help me and that help other people who are volunteers and advocates in our community. And every single person has value, even if they are bedbound. I am the president of our local Mensa chapter, and I'm president of that Mensa chapter because someone who was bedbound recommended that I join Mensa. And I am also a member of many other local communities that do more for our community, like the Seroptimus chapter, and like being a volunteer right here at this museum. I contributed over 200 hours here last year. And to me, it is sometimes my friends who are bedbound that can't work, that don't have the ability to go out and come to things like this, that can inspire me and help me and support me emotionally so I can be out here and help in the things that I do. And I think that anyone who's on disability deserves to be able to make a living wage to support themselves, and they shouldn't be in fear that the government will do something that means that they can't live. People die from not being able to get the support that they need, and when they go away, so does the support network for everybody that can physically help their communities.
Okay, awesome. One thing, no, come on over. River City Pride is this coming weekend, so not this weekend, but next weekend, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I think there's a parade, a run.
Parade is on Friday, the festival's on Saturday, then there's a party Saturday night, and I think there's something else on Sunday.
Picnic.
Picnic, okay, perfect.
On Sunday, there's going to be an event at the church at Stone River. It's a picnic.
Yes.
So everyone's invited.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi, I'm Saren. I'm one of those scary trans people that Fox News warned you about. And I just wanted to say that every single time I see legislation, or even just discourse, just news articles and propaganda that is targeting trans people, as a parent, I always read it first as, how does this impact my teenage daughter? Because so often in this legislation, the actual target, in my opinion, is women. And they're selling y'all out, and we're the scapegoat for it. When you lose your right to vote because over, things like the SAVE Act that have to do with name change legislation, which does impact me, but it also impacts most women who are married. I think about my daughter's long-term future. When I see things like just yesterday, Fox News put out an article about how Planned Parenthood was finding loopholes to give trans kids HRT behind their parents' backs. I think that's birth control. That's birth control like Depo-Provera, which is my teenage daughter is on to help manage her periods.
And I keep thinking, like it's challenging as a parent to know that my identity is being used to harm my children in long-term ways. I often joke like I'm trans, I got 99 problems, and being trans is just one. I have several boys, and I think about my sons, and how are they gonna be, how does this legislation impact them? Is this turning them into weapons of war? Are they gonna be drafted to fight wars that I don't agree with? And a lot of people, I don't think step back and really think, what is the actual implication here? Trans people make up less than 2% of the population. Women make up way more.
Over half.
Yeah, over half the population. And when I call my representatives, I never tell them I'm trans. I tell them I'm a parent. And I ask them, how does this impact my daughter? What about my daughter? What about her future? And when y'all are having conversations with your peers and other people, and trans people come on the table, I implore you to ask, how does this impact women? Because a lot of people don't relate to us, and that's fine. I'm not asking to be relatable, and I appreciate everybody who argues my humanity. But most people don't get us, and they do understand daughters, they understand sisters, they understand women's rights, and all of that is on the table with trans people. That's all. You wanting to say something again? Well, everybody that's runs an organization, can you raise your hands again? Okay, I'm gonna, yeah. Did everybody get those, or do we need to say those again if anybody has any interest? If not, we have just a few.
I'll make this really short, but I want to quote something that Representative Strong said. He said, if we don't make some changes here in America, it's going to be the same thing. And he is referencing the Gaza and Israeli conflict and the genocide. That's actually what it is. And I want to relate this to the One Big Beautiful Bill in a sort of a way. I'll bring it really back quick. So we have all the issues that's caused by the Big Beautiful Bill, all the people with Medicaid, and all the children that's going to be affected by this. But Dale Strong, when you voted to support sending military aid to Israel to attack Gaza and the innocent children there's been over 16,500 children, and that's a conservative estimate. Do you really just don't care about pro-life unless it's a white, cis, male child? What's the issue? Are you pro-life? If you're pro-life, you gotta be pro-life for all lives.
Right.
Not just the ones that you want to cherry pick. That's what I gotta say.
Janet around the corner? No? Nobody's listening to me. Okay. Okay, I think. Jeremy, do you have anything to say? Is Janet back there? Janet! Okay, well, did everybody get the organizations, if they want any? We can go ahead, we have, I think, what do we have? We have 6 minutes if people want to mingle and connect. And the cards, who had the cards? Did he leave? Those were amazing. If you don't mind giving me the link to that, I would love that. We thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate it, hearing everybody's voices, and we'll make sure that we send this to Mr. Strong, and all of your cards out there will go to him as well.
Thank you for coming. If you want to do this again, there will be more town halls. And one of these days, he's going to show up. I promise you. He can't ignore us forever.
No, he won't.
We'll just go to do one in his office.
We just need more tips. I've seen him this